From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
National title time starts tonight. Let's go. Taking you all the way up about the first pitch over women's. No,
we're not. This isn't a 2-hour show, I hope, because that thing starts at 8.
Oh, I thought it was Central Time, which would actually even be worse in that case.
I think it's 8 Eastern Time.
Okay. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for being here for Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. CPTallybar.com is the website. You can check out their social calendar, but you already know on Tuesdays what you missed out on was trivia night. Tomorrow, Thursday podcast, bingo night at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. CPTallybar.com is the website. You can always hit the QR code above Corey's handsome mug. Gets you right to the website. Check everything out. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source. Obviously, lots of recruiting stuff going on out at the Plex, the other Plex, the Sports Plex, where they have the IM fields now, Corey. Michael Langston, Matt Lacer have been stationed out there all day today, interviews with top recruits. If I get the new computer up and running, I might even edit some highlights of these recruits in action. CJ Hurd, Landon Thomas, etc. They'll be over on warchant.com's YouTube channel, which you all should be subscribed to. And the promo below Corey's beautiful mug is outdated. You actually can sign up for a full year of warchant.com for 50% off. So it's $49.99 for an entire year, or you can sign up for $1 and it takes you to like kickoff. But that's when all the fun starts, everybody. So anyhow, do it. Corey, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Didn't win trivia, if you were wondering. We finished in, I think, 4th place, tied for 4th.
What tripped you up?
There was a question about the nickname of the San Francisco Giants mascot, Blank Seal. And I know I've seen the mascot. It's a seal. And I did not know the first name was Lou. So the name of the San Francisco Giants mascot is Lou Seal, which is funny, but especially if you're an Arrested Development fan. But either way, it didn't pan out for us. But look what I'm repping.
Yeah, I was going to say Vitamin Energy. All right, we'll talk about them later on.
Of course, buddy. Of course.
We'll talk about them later on. I want to give a shout out to this guy real quick. Jason Purdue says, "Let's go, Lady Noles." Amen, brother. Don't know how much we'll talk about it because this is going to be the Thursday podcast, so it might be outdated. But we'll talk about softball. Obviously, they deserve it. But I bumped into him at the repair shop for my computer. He was there, so he helped grease the skids. Like, oh, this guy works for Warchant. Make sure you fix this thing, Ricky Tick. So shout out to Jason. Appreciate you. Got it done for us.
All right, Jason. Good looking out, buddy.
All right, Corey, what do we think? Is it a must win? I'm not trying to be first takey or anything, but I was trying to think about this in my head. I mean, listen, they haven't lost since February, Oklahoma, period, point blank. So for them to lose twice here in the next 3 days is going to be quite a miraculous feat. Beating them back-to-back games, like games 2 and 3 after you've fallen behind in a 0-1 hole seems a little bit even that much more improbable. Is tonight? I think it is because, man, there's a lot of pressure and weight, I think, on Oklahoma. There's a lot on Florida State, too. Florida State expects to be here. They expect to be playing for a national title. They think they're capable of it. But I just think there's so much weighing on Oklahoma. I think if you can jump on them tonight and then ride some defense for the rest of the night and get a win, maybe that puts a little, maybe that hurts their psyche enough that they don't come out, on Thursday, maybe guns a-blazing as much. Thoughts, theories, share them.
Yeah, I do kind of think of this as a must-win. Maybe not so much of the mindset for the two teams as much as I don't envision Lonnie using Sandercock 2 games in a row. I think she'll get the ball tonight. I think she'll pitch a lot tonight as long as she's pitching well. And then if they win, she can do what she's been doing and start someone else, probably Mac Leonard, maybe McKenna Reed, as long as they're not calling illegal pitches. And Kat Sandercock could come in to close that game. She does not want them to get a ton of looks at Kat Sandercock because this offense is just too good. And you give this Oklahoma lineup a lot of looks at the same pitcher, you could be in trouble. So if you can get the win tonight, then you can use some different pitchers on Thursday, later on today, if you're listening to the podcast. And whether you win or lose, they've seen some different stuff, and then you can come back with Kat. Or if you have a lead or it's close in the 4th or 5th inning of game 2, you come back with Cat. But if you lose your first game with Sandercock, I don't know, because I don't think Lonnie would just pitch her the whole series. So then you're going to have Mac Leonard and McKenna Reed, who are good pitchers, but they're not Cat Sandercock, pitching in an elimination game. And if they give up a 3-run bomb in the 2nd inning, your season might be over. So that's why I think today gives you a little margin for error. If you lose this, having to beat Oklahoma 2 times in a row just seems way too steep a challenge.
Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth in my head. It's almost like, if you don't win tonight, if you win game 2, that puts so much more pressure on Oklahoma. Then they realize they're teetering that close to making this whole season like all for naught.
I just don't think your chances of winning game 2 are great, because unless she doesn't pitch Cat tonight for some reason. But if you pitch your ace tonight and you lose it, and I don't think she's coming back with her ace for the whole game in game 2, and so you could for game 3, I think she would do that, but not for game 2. And then so you're already down 1, and then you're not pitching your best pitcher. I think that would be an issue. But yes, if you lost tonight and then won Thursday night, that would put a ton of pressure on Oklahoma.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's going down. Our own Irish show fells out there in Oklahoma City. So stay connected to warchant.com. Yeah. So what happened? Did he fly or did he drive?
That's a good question. I don't know. We probably should have asked. I know that after the interviews today we had with Destyn Hill and Keon Coleman and those guys, he texted and said he needed to get some sleep. And that was like at 11 a.m., so 10 a.m. out there. So my thought is maybe he got up and took that flight, because I think that flight landed, because I had a friend that was on it. I think that flight landed in OKC, the one that was delayed, so they couldn't make their connection last night. Tallahassee, man, gotta love this airport. You just gotta love it. It's an 8:20 flight to Dallas with a connection to OKC. Takes off 2 hours late, so they missed their connection. And I think Ira must have taken the early flight this morning.
All right. Well, he's out there. Check out warchant.com. We'll have the full press conference up as well on our YouTube channel, which you should be subscribed to. And as Wes shows here in the comments, do smash them. Got him. All right. Spartan says, Corey, I'll be at the corner pocket 31st August. Congrats. Dinner for you and Steph on me if you make it out.
Other way around, Ralph. It's on us. But thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Can't wait to see you. I assume you'll be in Orlando during some point as well for that game. But yeah, man, if you're at Corner Pocket on August 31st, I think that's that Friday before the game, I'll be there. And yeah, I'm buying you wings or burger or fries, whatever you want at Corner Pocket. It's all awesome. Also, Aslan, they're getting a prime rib sandwich added to the menu. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be
and
there.
a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. So they're doing some things.
There's a place in town that does those, and I'm not a big hot spicy food guy, and I had it the other day, and I was very impressed. So I'll see if Corner Pocket can rise above, which I feel good about. But the prime rib sandwich, I'm all over that.
Yeah,
Let me know in the intro.
I'm
and
fired
I'll
up
be there
about that.
Sure. We'll do a live show if you want. I'll do a live remote for
just eating that prime rib.
Yeah.
Maybe you get that guy's little brother to show up.
Mike. Oh, Mikey.
Oh, Mike Dog.
Back to Corner Pocket real quick. We were doing a show a few weeks ago, Corey, and I told you this off the air, and Pillar, Ray Pereira, was like, hey, man, I'm at the Corner Pocket. And we're like, ha, 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 funny, because he lives in Houston. He was.
Yeah.
He was out there with Eric Angel. Michael Langston was there. So I don't know if Ray's here or not, but if Ray does show up, everybody, let him know that we talked about him at the beginning, and we apologize for not being at the Corner Pocket. If we would have known, I thought,
buddy, if I was in town, I just wasn't in town, or I would have been there.
Yeah. All right. Phil Stevens says they should move this to a 7-game home and away series, like NBA Finals. Would you do 2-3-2, Corey, or would you want to go 2-1-1-1?
1-1-1. Probably for this, I think you do 2-3-2. Yeah, this is something that I'm sure that I don't know, man. I don't know what you can do, because Oklahoma City does love this event, but it's not all that equitable. It's not, look, the game's played on the field. Fans don't call balls and strikes. They don't pitch. They don't hit. I get it. But it would be daunting if you were playing Oklahoma in like the Walmart parking lot or at Tom Brown with nobody watching. It would be very, very daunting. To play them in front of 12,000 of their fans, it makes it tough, man. And the College World Series has never really had this issue, right? Because Creighton, what have they been there twice? Nebraska's been there 5 or 6 times. But this is a big issue because the best program in the country gets to play home games on the biggest stage.
How come Oklahoma State doesn't have all that much success out there, though?
They're
That's
not
my
as
only
good.
counter, I would say.
Yeah, they're not as good. They're not as good. That's why.
All right. Let's talk football. People in the chat want to talk about football.
All right.
Garrett wondering who missed y'all's top 40. I don't want to give it away. I saw 35 through 40, and I think I might have voted for one of the guys that made the final top 40 that made that 35 to 40 slot. I don't know if have you seen the graphic, Corey? I don't want to bring it up. Okay.
I've seen the email.
Yeah.
I brought this up on headlines. I think we were asked this on headlins. Dennis Briggs is a guy for me that just finished outside the top 40 because I just think you go into the season with him as your fifth defensive tackle at best, right?
Yeah.
And unless they're going to move him back to defensive end, which who knows with him, he was right there. I think there's a chance he could be a nice player, but and a contributing player. But I just, I think and also Darius Washington. I don't think I had Darius Washington on the list, and that guy might play a ton. He's a very, very important player because of the flexibility he gives you and the versatility. So and neither one of them made the list. I think those were probably, if I wanted to say, and I honestly, I don't know if they're on the list at all. I can't remember as the aggregate for all of us.
Yeah.
But I had them at 41 and 42, so they just missed my list.
Okay. Yeah. I do wonder about Briggs. You're probably right, though, right? We were thinking, let's say Fabian, Fabian and Jackson, and then
Fisk and
Farmer, and then you're looking at Briggs 5. Maybe if they go 3 down linemen sometimes, Briggs then somehow that elevates him into being one of the top guys if they go to 3 down linemen in certain situations. But yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should have taken that under consideration when I filled out my top 40. But so it makes this whole thing fun. We'll debate it throughout the shows here on Wake Up Warchant, Jeff Cameron Show, Seminole Headlines. We'll have videos rolling out as we start to unveil the original Warchant top 40 preseason poll. A lot of people have done it. Ours, I think, a little bit more nuanced. I like it a little bit more.
It's the best, obviously, because of the combined experience of the people doing it, gang. That's all I'm saying. Ira and Jeff are incredibly old, and so they have all that wisdom and experience to really put the team in perspective and these players into perspective. And as we said before, it sure is a lot more enjoyable filling out this year than it was 2021 or 2019 or any of those seasons for sure.
Yeah. All right, Matthew Ogles. Ogles?
I'd say
Ogles.
Ogles, probably.
Isn't Ogles like something you wouldn't want? Like you wouldn't want me to ogle Steph, right?
Correct. Though sometimes it's ogle.
Okay.
But I think ogle is also the way you can pronounce it. But either way, yes. And you better not.
I'm terrible.
Keep her name out of your mouth. Actually,
I'm terrible with the pronunciations today. Too bad I got to talk for like another 45 minutes. We'll lean on Corey heavily here. Aslan, Corey, what are your thoughts about the readiness of Keon, Coleman, and Destyn Hill after finally interviewing them? Likelihood of Destyn Hill contributing this year. We did get to speak to those two gentlemen as well as he's a freshman, Destyn Hill, even though he's a little bit older than most freshmen. But we also spoke to Goldie Lawrence and Sam Singleton. But I guess Matthew wants to talk about the receivers first, or at least these two receivers.
Yeah.
Have at it, Corey. What do you think about the readiness of Keon and Destyn after getting to speak to them earlier today in the Moore Center?
I don't know. I can't judge any. Look, Coleman's ready. I mean, that dude is a legit 6'4" when he walks in. He is a big kid. He's put together. He's an impressive guy. It's hard to know about after interviewing. Other than I was impressed with Destyn Hill, man. I was impressed with the way that's not an easy environment to walk into for the first time when you've been gone for 2 years. You've just never been here. And then you're talking to people that want to know where you've been for 2 years. And I thought he handled it really well. I thought he handled your question well about when would he want to talk about it. And he just said, look, it's a family thing. I'm just going to keep it like that. But I thought he was other than that, he was really good and honest about, his thoughts about joining this team and finally getting here. I thought I like the way he handled himself. Now, does that mean he's mature enough to get on a football field as a true freshman? I know he's not really a normal true freshman, but he has not played football since the state championship game of Louisiana in 2020. So it's going to be almost 3 full years since he's played a game. I don't know, man. And also the room is so full of good players. Um, I would be surprised if he contributes a ton, but I wouldn't be completely shocked. He was good when he was coming out of high school. He does look like he's in shape. He did say that he surprised himself with how well he was handling summer workouts. So maybe he's ready to contribute his first year, even though he hasn't played in almost 3.
Yeah. And I guess that was maybe his triumphant return to social media. Or although I think when he first came here, he had the Instagram post or something about like, "Hey, sorry for the delay," or "Sorry for the
Right.
wait," which was really clever. Yeah, I was extremely impressed with the way he comported himself in front of everybody, because shout out to the beat. Our beat doesn't, I don't think our beat really pushes and presses a lot. But like the first 3 questions right out the gate were just kind of like, "Hey man, like what'd you learn about yourself? Where were you? Like what's going on?" And they're totally fair. I know some of the comments were like, "Leave the kid alone." I get it, man. You all think he's your son. You think he's your brother. He's not. It's our job to ask him some questions and stuff. So, but I thought he handled it remarkably well, man. No like hesitation. He wasn't having to talk in circles about anything. He was really forthright about everything. To a certain degree. I mean, he didn't want to dive into everything. My question was like, when do you think you'll be comfortable talking about this stuff? And he's like, "I'm fine right now, man. It's my family, so I don't want to talk about it." Like, all right, man. Amen. The fact that he was confident, that he said that he thinks he's kind of far ahead, even though he didn't really answer our question in terms of like what he was doing here the last few months, weeks, years to be ready. I feel good about having him at 40 on my top 40. Spoiler.
So he did make it. I don't believe he made mine. But like 5 or 6 other receivers did, just not the kid that hasn't played in 3 years. But yeah, I agree. The way he comported himself was very impressive. And it's not. I don't know that I had prejudged what it was going to be like. I just didn't have any real. I didn't have anything to go by. I never heard him speak. For last 2 months ago, I wasn't even sure if he existed. And for him to actually handle that moment where there's 8 of us, 10 of us, because some of us, half the beats out in Oklahoma City, but there was still Zoom. And there was still us, lobbing questions at him with a mic that apparently was muted and not muted. Who knows? Weird setup in there, but they did a great job. SID, the Sports Information Department, setting that up and letting us talk to him. We probably talked to him for 15, 17 minutes and asked him all the questions we wanted to ask. So, again, this goes back to not only Destyn Hill being willing to do that, but it goes back to the head coach loving it. Loving it. Loving his players to be in front of cameras and talking and not having a problem with it, having access, the fans having access to these players. I love that Norvell continues to do that. It's great.
How about Keon Coleman? We spoke to him as well. Seminole win 8-7-9-2. Said his favorite part of the interview was when I asked Keon, "Do you think with all the skill and the talent you'll be able to get 50 and 800 again?" He said, "Yes, sir, I do." What do you think about? Yeah, he kind of smirked at me like, "What, you don't think I will?" And kind of like, "I don't know, man. I really don't. There's just so many guys here, and we don't throw the ball that much, and we're usually throttling people. And when we do that, we're running the clock out. But hey, man, I hope you do." He's large. He's a large human being. He does bring something unique, and part of me was a little bit. I didn't know if really he was the top target in the portal or was the receiver from Texas San Antonio. Zachary Franklin, his name escapes me. Maybe that's it. But I know now it makes sense, man. Like, I think Ole Miss and Florida State were heavy after him. And when he fell off, for Ole Miss at least, they went after the kid from Texas San Antonio. Florida State got Keon Coleman. And he's going to bring something different than what they have. They got good pieces, but there's just something different I feel about him. Don't you think, Corey?
I do. And I liked his answer when I asked him what he had to work on. And he got really detailed about it. It wasn't just I got to get faster and stronger. I mean, it was I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was 30 seconds of actually detailed stuff about what he has to get better at, which I thought was a really good sign because he will be coached hard here. And his goal is to get to the NFL, and he does have to improve. Like, he's going to be drafted, but is he going to be a 4th round pick or a 2nd round pick or a 1st round pick? That's kind of all up to him, but he's certainly, and again, I'm not a great body language reader. I don't put a ton of stock into this stuff necessarily, but there is I don't even know if it's a quiet confidence. He just exudes confidence the way he talks about it. He is going into this season. He's going into that game against LSU expecting not only to win the game, but to dominate whoever's covering. I don't know other than Johnny Wilson, who still, I think, might still worry about the drops every now and again. But this kid goes into a game wanting to dominate and thinking he's going to dominate. And just the way the way he handled himself was real impressive. It isn't even the right word. Just
Mature, man. Yeah,
encouraging.
just focused.
Yeah,
He's got
man.
focus,
Yeah,
right?
he really knows he's a good player, and he knows that he's made this football team a lot better.
Look at this guy.
Look at this guy. What a guy.
Ray Pereira, everybody. He's going to give us better lead time.
What?
Hundo in the jar, and we stood him up like 2 weeks ago, Corey.
I know.
This guy, Ray Pereira. Gentlemen, I'll give more lead time before my next trip to CP.
Please.
That is the Corner Pocket, everybody. You know that, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. If Corey hangs out there, I don't know if you need any more evidence to hang out at Corner Pocket when you're in town, everybody. But if Corey's there when he's in town and Ray Pereira, like, who are you to not go?
What else are you doing? What else are you doing? Who are you with?
I think the whole country would like to see us beat Oklahoma at the Women's College World Series. Great job on the football interviews today. See you in Orlando. Go Noles.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it, and I 100% agree with that. Thank you very much, also for the contribution, donation, tip. Sorry,
donation.
tip. God, I never get that right. We really do appreciate it, man. That's very, very kind. That's what, like, if this game was being played in Atlanta or Ann Arbor or Eugene, Oregon, everybody there would be cheering for Florida State, except for the pocket of 200 or 300 Oklahoma fans. But you're in the one city that loves softball that it'll be 95% cheering for the. It's like being there cheering for Goliath. Like if Goliath I don't know where that fight was. I'm not a historian, but it's like if Goliath was in his home stadium and David had to come in this huge auditorium filled with people booing him. Where'd Aslan go?
Goliath.
Yeah.
Was it on a neutral site? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody in the comments would know where that was fought. But I assume it probably was a neutral site. I got to imagine. Goliath, he's not rolling into Goliath's house, sneaking up on him in his home, in his living room.
Well, I mean, that's what's going to make this so amazing. And when they pull it off, is that they're going to beat the team that's got the longest win streak in, I think, softball history, and they're going to do it in their house when it matters most. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope you all are as well. And I do agree with that too. I think this is a very likable. It's cool. Florida State sometimes feels like, I don't know if it's like residual Jimbo Jameis era stuff where like we feel kind of defensive and hostile towards people. Like we feel like we're a villain, but certainly they're not going to this game, which is really cool.
Their softball team is very, very likable. Obviously, softball isn't as big a sport as football, so there's not as much attention to it. But the attention that is focused on Florida State softball is almost all positive, and that starts at the top. Lonnie, other than that third base umpire, nobody has a bad thing to say about Lonnie Alameda. Like, she is very well liked by the fans, by the softball community. She's enormously respected. So, yeah, it's and it starts with her. And then those players are pretty easy to cheer for, too. I just think but it starts with her.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you, man. Sam Kessler. I mean, there's some questions in here that are tough to kind of wrap our heads around, Corey, but we got to do it. What are the odds if Florida State makes it to the playoffs that without a new television deal that allows Florida State to financially compete, that Norvell would be gone after 2024? Well, 2024, it's 2 years from now. Would you want to leave somewhere you just won a national title the year before, Corey? I wouldn't.
Well, he just said make it to the playoffs. He didn't specify a championship.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know that the TV deal. Well, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. I would say if he gets them to the playoffs, so now you're talking about a 10-win season followed by a 12-win season at least, and then maybe even if they take a step back in 24, but it's 8 wins. I mean, yes, some big school that's looking for a ready-made, already big-name coach will come knocking at the door. And If they can offer him $12 million and you're offering him $8 million, that's the thing we don't know is with the new Big Ten and SEC contracts, where are these salaries going to go? Are they going to start getting to $12 to $15 million a year? Because if they do, yeah, pretty good chance. And I don't think anybody would really begrudge him if he leaves for double the salary. But let's just hope that doesn't happen. And let's hope if he makes the playoffs, he goes ahead and wins it.
I just wonder how appealing he would have to be, like one of the 5 most appealing hires over the last 25 years. Like if he's got that under his belt, like if he came here and fixed what he fixed at this place with the amount of scrutiny and pressure and attention that's on at this place, inheriting what he inherited, going through COVID year one, and then like 4 years later, they've won a national championship. And again, I know you're saying playoffs, but I don't know, man. That kind of takes away a little bit of the luster from the store. But maybe even maybe in the playoffs, maybe that doesn't get you $12 million, but maybe it gets you $10 million if you are Michigan State and Mel Tucker just hasn't cut it, although you probably don't have the money to pay him.
I would hope Norvell would be smart enough to realize that Michigan State hasn't won anything in 60 years. Yeah. And that's probably for good reason. He needs to go to a place where that has a history of competing and winning championships. I would say this, kind of I'm not off topic, but staying on topic with this question, but a little off the tracks. Let's say he does win a championship in 23. And let's say that in 2024, he's making $7 million a year. Saban retires. Alabama comes and offers him $11 million a year. And he's like, look, unless you can bump up my salary, I've got to take this for my family. What's sad about the current state of college athletics, and I mean this sincerely, it is sad. This is not flippant. Florida State would be better off getting rid of Lonnie Alameda, getting rid of Bob Raymond, getting rid of Brooke, getting rid of Leonard, getting rid of Link, every other coach, and paying whoever replaces them $45,000 each. To keep Mike Norvell, to save all that money, you're paying these very good coaches. Some of them are great coaches to save your football coach because that's how much football matters. And it pains me to say that, but it's the truth. You know, if Lonnie Alameda's contract went from $700,000 to $50,000, if Leonard, if you decide you're going to have a head basketball coach that makes $250,000, so $2 million below the going rate, but it keeps your head coach. It probably, and you think you have the next great head coach, it makes financial sense to do it, even though it implodes your whole athletic department. That's where we were. That's where we are now because of this huge gap in revenue, and it sucks. But you couldn't argue with Alford if he did it, right? If that's the only way to keep Norvell. And I'm not suggesting that. I don't think that's going to happen. I would hope that wouldn't even come close to even being thought about. But I'm saying you couldn't argue with it if that's the only way you keep Norvell, because that's how important football is. Get rid of all the other sports and just pay your football coach.
Yeah. Well, last thing on this, to your point of don't go to East Lansing. They haven't done anything of substance on a football field in 60 years. It's like, it's the Venn diagram. There's the circle of teams that actually have the money to be able to woo and come over the top with an offer. And then there's the teams that are really, really, have that sort of lineage that you would want to take in, and the overlap of that, right? It's a small sort of hole to thread that needle, because I think it'd only be a Texas job. I don't even think of Alabama would be all that. You don't want to I don't think you'd want to follow up Nick Saban. Although maybe all right, everything's already in place. Yeah. He's gone. I can take it and keep this thing rolling. It'd be like a Texas. I mean, it'd be a very small amount of teams that have the money to do it, and you'd be like, all right, that is a good place. Kind of maybe makes sense. I don't know. He's from Texas. Maybe grew up, burn orange or whatever. But they'll keep him.
Look, they would have to they would have to try anything they could. Yeah. They'd have to do anything they could to keep him. Yeah, and we're talking about if this scenario plays out. If they make the playoffs this year, and in my scenario, they get 8 or 9 more wins the following year. So you can't just say, well, he was winning because he had Jordan Travis and Jared Burrs. He's showing he's made a consistent winner, and you believe in this guy, and you think he's your next Urban Meyer without all the nonsense, like a good person Urban Meyer. That would be hard to let anybody come and take him. And you really would have to do whatever you could to keep him because it's too important. Football is too important to be mediocre at.
I haven't been able to hammer down the biographies of David and Goliath to see their birthplace towns, but Gator Kirk has told us that the Valley of Ella is where David and Goliath fought, which is just confirmed here.
I'm pretty sure that was a movie I watched with Charlize Theron, where it's like it's like an illegal military killing movie. Maybe Tommy Lee Jones is in it too, but I didn't even know where that came from. That's so does it say if it's whose home it was?
No, it doesn't.
All right.
David, we don't have the birth certificate. I mean, golly, look how big Goliath was compared to David there, right?
I'm telling you, man. It's a good crowd. It drew a good crowd. People wanted to see. I just don't know who they were cheering for.
They look like they're cheering for Goliath. They're on his side, literally. Unbelievable.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like Oklahoma softball fans. When you picture Oklahoma softball fans, I want you to think of that picture that Aslan just had on the screen of Goliath's fans, because that's what they look like.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Shout out to BK, a.k.a. Bakari Robinson. He's also a subscriber of warchant.com, which you all can be as well. $49.99, 50% off an entire year. Corey's columns, Ira's columns, 321s, Tom's observations, Michael's recruiting insight, as well as Matt Lasser, Gene giving you the lowdown on things. Gene's going to know what's going to happen with all this realignment stuff, I feel like.
Well, that's absolutely true, actually. We will be very dialed into that. That's a really good point, Aslan, and we're all hoping that in the next year we're going to have a lot of cool tidbits to share about that. So you'd want to be, and we're not going to be tweeting it out. It's going to be on our message board for users. So get over there and join. You can do it now for $1, or you can do it for $50 for the whole year. So do it.
Kari, is that a new avatar? I feel like that's updated. I don't know. Let us know. $20. Thank you, Bakari, for real, man. Appreciate the heck out of you.
Thank you, Bakari.
What's up, gents? Looking forward to the ladies getting the W tonight. Amen. Football question. We spoke about this earlier, but we'll talk about it again. I guess we can refresh it up here. What are our thoughts on the Destyn Hill interview? How hard was it to be respectful to his situation, and what are your takeaways?
Yeah, it's a good question because it's just not normal. Like we look, man, he's 20 years old, and I'm not in the business. I don't work for TMZ. I don't work for National Enquirer, and I don't work for the Golf Channel where I try to make guys cry by rolling over right behind their back as they're breaking down in front of their team. I'm not about that life. That's not why I got into this. You don't want to press him. He clearly doesn't want to talk about it, and you don't want to press him on it. But at the same time, when you've been gone for 2 years, and it's so abnormal, that's the thing. He wasn't in a JUCO. He wasn't.
He was on social media.
He was not on social media. He completely disappeared. Like, he was off the grid. That's what makes it so unique, and that's why you kind of want to get a better handle just on. And I'll be honest with you. Sometimes we know things, and we just aren't. We don't really have the. I don't know if permission's the right word. We're not going to tell. We don't have a reason to tell you guys if it's something very personal and private that is not really any of our business. This I have no idea. If I did, I wouldn't tell you, but I don't. I legitimately don't have any idea what went on for 2 years. And it's such a unique, bizarre journey. So yeah, but it wasn't hard for me to be respectful. Like, my man didn't want to talk about it. We're not going to keep pressing him. That's not what we're there for. That's not what I mean, all of us would want to know, but not to the point where we alienate the kid when when he clearly doesn't want to talk about it. So he had a chance to tell us. He didn't, and we move on and cover his football career, and hopefully it's a really good one.
I'm trying to think of what situation I could ask him. We could ask him. I mean, say he catches the game-winning touchdown against LSU. I mean, even you're not going to ask that question in a post-game interview. Like, you would have to have some sort of relationship established or something where you're like, listen, it's going to be Gene Wojciechowski or whatever from ESPN doing a game day feature on him in 2 years when he's gone back-to-back All-American seasons. And it's like, this was a career that might not even ever have happened. And here's why. And then they'll go into it. I mean, he's going to be the one that's going to tell it. But I mean, I'm a little bit different from Corey, and like, I come from a television background. So I am much more of I need to see something. I need to hear something very that catches your ear. Reading it, and being able to put your words around it in a column, gives you a little bit of a luxury. But this was one of these where I wasn't even like, come on, let's figure it out. Like, I got my pitchfork out. I need answers. I I'm fine with it for now. But yeah, I won't turn it down. I mean, if you say, hey, I'll come on Wake Up Warchant, give you guys an exclusive, like, amen, absolutely, let's do it. But yeah, it seems like it's something family related. I've got some stuff that's happened with my family I wouldn't want people to know, so I'll just be like, all right, just because he plays football at Florida State doesn't mean I'm privy to this.
Yeah.
But I get the curiosity of it because, like you said, Corey, this doesn't happen. You don't fall off the grid.
It's unique. That's what makes it. It's not a kid that just. It's not. I mean, just pick anybody, man. This is unlike any college athlete I can ever remember. Just because he disappeared for 2 years. And the takeaways were, I was impressed. I was impressed with how he handled himself, the maturity that he showed dealing with it. I thought he was you know, I thought he was kind of fun loving. He handled it really well. He seemed comfortable up there, which was good to see.
Shout out to our guy, Matthew Ogles. We got it right the first time. He said he's got registered sausage on the grill, and he's going to drink a fourth of a shot of vitamin energy pre-gaming for the Lady Noles to add a second loss to Oklahoma. I say amen to that. Hopefully he used the promo code WARCHAMP BOGO, B-O-G-O, when he went over to vitaminenergy.com. That would get him a item of equal or lesser value for absolutely free. So like you'll buy one of these boxes. You get the mango. Tastes great. 12,000% of your vitamin B regiment in one little shot, 14,000%. You get one free using the promo code WARCHAMPBOGO, B-O-G-O, courtesy of our good friends over at vitaminenergy.com. So go over there, check it out. Website is super easy to navigate and shop through. So take a shot. I think you'll like it. Back to the questions about football. Our guy Ralph, real question for today. Are y'all surprised he turned it around as fast as he did?
Is that Norvell, I assume, we're talking about?
Maybe Link.
I don't think Link's turned anything around quite yet.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I don't want to say I didn't think it'd be at this level yet, because where is this level? I mean, 10-3 was great last year. Like, I don't want to put that as a ceiling for that. But if you would have told me, man, after they lost to Louisville in 2020, or after they lost to Jacksonville in 2021, or after they lost to the Gators at the end of 2021, they lost to an interim staff that, listen, they had everything to play for. Florida State, try to get into a bowl game, try to get a clean sweep of your state, and to look like the way they looked in Gainesville, like, man, miss me with this, like, I believe in him climb nonsense. Like, I wasn't buying it. But to tell me that you're going to have legitimate aspirations of winning a national title, conference title, heck no, I wouldn't have believed it. So yeah, man, I'm completely wrong on Mike Norvell. I'm fine admitting it. I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was just watching him conduct a practice and conduct a program. I did believe in him. I thought he was the right guy, but I mean, look, man, if Shaheem Brown doesn't block that PAT, this might be the trajectory of that season might have gone a completely different way. I mean, that we might look back at that and say that was the single biggest play of Mike Norvell's career, and one of the biggest play. If this thing goes where everybody hopes it goes, and it's not there yet, it would be one of the bigger plays in recent memory in Florida State history, because that was a loss that would have been an all-time loss when you fumbled it at the 1 yard line going in and you give up a 99-yard touchdown drive to lose the game. But you didn't. You won the game, and that was very important. And I think even still, from going from 5 wins to 10 wins, I was surprised by that. I thought they could get here eventually, but I didn't know it would be like, was it a year after they lost to Jacksonville State? They're 4-0 and ranked. Now they went to lose 3 in a row, but they were 4-0 and ranked, and had beaten LSU and won at Louisville on a Friday night against not a horrible team. So yeah, I was surprised. Not surprised that he turned it around, but that the turnaround from Jacksonville State to LSU in Louisville was pretty intense.
Yeah, no, I was, man. I thought you had to be, you had to have done it somewhere, man. You had to come off the Saban tree. You had to have won somewhere really important, somewhere big. Ed Orgeron, whatever, at least he was part of those USC national championship teams in Miami for a stretch. But then, like, you look at Kirby, you look at, like, Jimbo. I mean, Ryan Day hasn't won one. He's been back in the mix. He was around Urban for all those years. Dabo's kind of that anomaly that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I know he played for a national championship team. He was on one, but he never coached under a staff that had won somewhere really big. And I'm just like, man, I just don't know if he's going to resonate because he pushes them. His tone and his expectations and the way he pushes them in practice, I'm like, there's no way guys are going to listen to this from a guy that was at Memphis that has a losing record here. I'm like, it's not going to turn around. It's not going to work. Like, I like that he's pushing them hard. Like, I'm excited that he's not trying to take it easy on them. I'm like, I just don't think today's athlete is going to be like, all right, yeah, man, let's all get around the campfire and talk about our feelings and we'll push through this together as a brotherhood. And that's what he did.
And also now think about it where there's proof in the concept. There's proof in the pudding. Like all these new guys that are coming in can talk to the older guys that have been here. And who amongst this current Florida State football team doesn't believe in Mike Norvell in this staff? I mean, I would say it's less than 1%. It's probably a big fat zero. They all believe in him. And when you have every player believing in you, because not only do they believe in what you're saying, but then there's proof of it too. That's how cultures are built, and that's how programs are sustained. So let's hope he's doing it.
Good point by our guy Antoine Stone here regarding Destyn Hill. I feel like he'll eventually make a movie about his story since he said that's something he's interested in. Yes, save the big reveal for your directorial debut, Destyn.
Yeah, but it didn't sound like I would encourage everyone to go watch that interview. Go watch all of them. There were 4 of them today: Singleton, Goldie Lawrence, and the aforementioned Keon Coleman and Destyn Hill. But it didn't sound like he wanted to even be a director, did it? It sounded like he wanted to be like a cinematographer or something. Like he wanted to just work the camera.
He said behind the camera, so I'm thinking that's like director, but I don't know. You're I don't know.
But then it sounded like I just want to work on different angles and so. I mean, it was very interesting that he wanted to do that. And also how Goldie got his nickname. Was very interesting, but I'm not going to spoil it. Go watch the interview on our website.
P. Simpson, where in the Warchant top 40 would Daryl Jackson's waiver attorney rank?
Top 10. Top 10. That is a big deal. That needs to go ahead and hurry up and happen. They don't seem to be worried that it's not going to happen, but you cannot be worried.
It hasn't happened yet, rather. They're not worried it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but you cannot be worried right up until you're going to start to get really worried. I mean, that happens. So it's like, you're not worried about Travis Hunter not signing. It's fine. It's fine. It's 10 a.m. He's milling about with his teammates. And then it's 11 a.m. and it's like, oh man, is he going to Jackson State? Like, so go ahead and knock that out. Knock that, tick that box. Let's get Daryl Jackson officially 100% on the 2023 roster.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he can practice. Like, I mean, obviously we want him to play, but he'll be ready. You don't have to get ready when you stay ready. So as long as he's able to stay ready, I feel all right about it. But yeah, I don't know. I've taken it for granted that he's going to get it and it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people are concerned because every week we do this, people ask like, what's the latest? And I'm like, I don't know, man.
But I get it, right? Like it needs to, I mean, we're in June now. We're 2 months away from practice. So that needs to happen.
Ooh, tough question here. Tough one.
Yikes.
Garrett says you can only keep one coach for the next 2 years.
It's not tough.
Alex
it's Atkins. Yes, it's Atkins. Or Link Jarrett, it's Atkins. I mean, it has to be. I just had a 4-minute soliloquy about how I'd cut every sport on campus to keep the football team good. And then this is a guy that's a huge part of your football team being good. So absolutely, it's Alex Atkins. Love you, Link. But college baseball doesn't matter as much as college football. And Alex Atkins is a really, really big deal.
I guess when you put it like that, right? No real.
And you think you have one of the 5 best O-line coaches in the country?
Oh, yeah.
Keep them. You'd want to keep them.
Can't say we have one of the best 5 baseball coaches in the country right now. So
not yet.
But I mean, last year you might have said that. He took Notre Dame to the College World Series. He's right behind. The guy from Oregon State is gone.
I'll say this: even if Link took this team to the College World Series, I still think the answer is Alex Atkins, man. It just means more. That sport just means more.
You're right. Cold-blooded. Tim Scala, I think Norvell grew up as a coach with the questionable calls against LSU and NC State.
So I told this story. I can't remember if I told this story on this show or headlines.
did.
I do so many podcasts, guys. It was the one where he was trying to make coffee before the booster event in Atlanta. Did I tell that on this show, Aslan?
Yeah, you can do it again. It's fine.
No, I don't want to. But anyway, he did make a self-deprecating joke because he screwed up whatever espresso he was trying to make. Some mocha latte, chocolate thing he was making with this really fancy espresso machine at the Fox Theater, and it came out just like mud. And he's like, "Oh, that was pretty gross. I didn't do that well." But he goes, "You know what it's like? It's like a toss sweep on the goal line. You learn from your mistakes. You don't do it again. You try something else, and you go on." And so, yeah, he was self-deprecating about that game. But I do agree. The NC State game, I don't know. I was just so baffled by the LSU call, and I get it. They had already scored a touchdown on that play, but in that moment, the risk versus reward, you don't need a touchdown. You don't. You're at the 1 yard line. You could just QB sneak it twice, make them burn timeouts, and then kick a 20-yard field goal, and the game's over. Now, of course, people. What if he gets it blocked? What if he somehow misses a 20-yard field goal, which would not be out of the realm of possibility? Then everybody's criticizing that. But you've also made them burn their timeouts anyway. So that was not great at the end of that game. The NC State, though, I don't know. I guess you could say telling Jordan not to make that play. It's not like the only read on that play is Pittman on the little corner fade route. He could have thrown it to somebody else. I don't know if I don't know if that was Norvell's. That was just a really honestly, it's a really good play by that DB who got burned for a touchdown. Saw the same formation, assumed they were coming back to that play, and beat Pittman to the spot. Guess what? NC State DB, try beating Keon Coleman to that spot. Good luck, because it ain't happening. That's 6. That's 6, baby. You're not doing that again next year.
I mean, he's also not immune from it. I mean, just because he's not inoculated because he had some bad ones. I mean, Nick Saban's had some ones he wants back, and Kirby's had some ones he wants back. So I'm not going to think that he's going to have throw perfect games from here on out
But he did handle, when you think about how he handled Oklahoma, the end of that game, is very similar actually. The catch that Johnny made in the NC State game was only like 25 yards, not 60 or whatever it was. But it was a big catch by Johnny down the right sideline that got them going, got them near field goal range. In the Oklahoma case, got them into field goal range, deep into it. And yeah, he was cool taking the points right then. He was cool with making Oklahoma burn timeouts, which he did. I mean, all that was stuff maybe he did learn from the NC State game, now that I think about it. Good question, Tim. Or not even a question. Good comment.
Let's see here. Let's keep it with coaches. Cameron wonders, do you think Alex Atkins will be a head coach at another school by the end of next year?
So going into 2025 is the question, or going into 2024?
I mean, technically, the end of next year would be the end of 2024.
I think he probably means the end of next season, though, coming up.
Yeah.
I think no, but I think the year after that he will be. That's just a hunch. I don't know. It also has to do with jobs becoming available. What job would be enticing to get him or appealing for him? But I would think by 2025 he'll be a head coach. Maybe, going back to that other question, when Norvell leads him to the playoffs and he gets offered a lot of money by an SEC school, Atkins just becomes the head coach here. So I mean, I guess it wouldn't be another school like the question. It would be this school, but I foresee Alex Atkins being here for maybe 2 more years before he's the head coach. I mean, what else would a program want?
Yeah.
I mean, look what his offense does. Look how he completely transitioned the offensive line from a disaster to actually good in a short amount of time. Like I don't understand what an AD and a president would want. In the way he can talk about somebody that carries himself and comports himself well, and that his players love. Not in the moment. He's a hard coach, but they love playing for that guy. I don't see why anybody wouldn't, any AD or program from a Power 5 school, if they have an opening, wouldn't start looking at him.
Zeiler, when will we hear from Ira in Oklahoma City? Man, he's probably driving there and parking, and he's got to get set up. We're not going to get in his way, man. Let the man cook.
After maybe Aslan will have. What are we going to do? Is Ira going to do anything like post game?
I don't know, man. I still don't have an editing program to edit podcasts. That's why our last few shows have been a little bit rough, everybody. Sorry. Thanks for the love, though. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, I mean, it'd be weird for us to do a podcast.
Oh, we're not doing a podcast. I'm just saying maybe he could record himself talking. after the game or
Yeah.
something, or
Yeah.
who knows. Anyway,
Well, I don't know if
yeah,
I'll
we should hear from
catch
Ira.
some-
We flew him all the way out there for you guys. So yeah, we should hear from him at some point while he's out there.
Before we get this one from our guy Josh Bass, a reminder that mybookie.ag is offering a promo code with a cash deposit bonus for everybody signing for the first time. The promo code is Warchant because they like us. So bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. They had some lines week one college football season. NBA lines are out here. I'm not going to make you pick on today's game, Corey, because by the time everyone hears this, it's going to be over, so that won't be any fun.
Right.
You're not a futures guy, but just give you some idea what's looking like week one. Notre Dame taking on Navy, 21-point favorite, the Irish.
In Ireland.
Game
That's in Ireland, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Classic game between UMass and New Mexico State. Everyone's going to be all over. Utah giving out 9.5 at home to Florida.
That seems like a lot to me.
That is a lot.
That seems like a lot of points to me. Utah, they just, I expect that to be a close game.
What about Dion getting 21 against the national runner-up?
That's, I'd take Dion plus 21. There's some symmetry there with the number too. Hall of Fame number in the NFL. There's something going on there. I might take Dion plus 21.
I think this goes in chronological order. Where we should have been much further up here. I'm just going to do the whole Control F trick that Corey showed me the other day. Actually, I knew it existed. Oh, they don't even have it on the board right now. Oh, it's a terrible read for my bookie. But anyhow, they're there for a national championship winner, plus 1825. Pick them, put $100 down on it. You'll win like $1,000 or something crazy. $1,825, and that pays for your entire trip to the first playoff game or reimburse you for the national title game. So head to mybookie.ag, where you can bet most anything, anytime, anywhere. Use that promo code WARCHANT. Get your instant cash deposit bonus. Josh Bass postulates over on Facebook, God forbid Jordan Travis goes down with injury this year. What is your confidence level, 1 through 10, that the backup quarterback room can carry this team with all the offensive talent surrounding them now? 10 being a team that would not miss a beat. Thanks for the input. Go Noles.
6. Yeah. Aslan's right. That's where I'm with. 6.
Okay.
Look, they're not going to – of course they're going to miss a beat. Jordan Travis is better than Tate Rodemaker. So it's not like it's 1 and 1A. It's 1 and 2 for a reason. But Rodemaker with those weapons and Norvell and Atkins designing game plans for him and calling plays for him, I think you could still average in the 30s, which should still give you a chance to win most of your games. But clearly – you're not going to. It's not 10. Jordan Travis is too good.
Yeah, man.
And if Rodemaker plays in that Florida game, they lose.
Oh yeah, Oklahoma game.
Maybe Oklahoma, probably Oklahoma, but absolutely Florida, because there were a couple plays that Jordan made that essentially won them the game. On third downs, he's scrambling instead of avoiding sacks. He's scoring touchdowns, essentially. Well, they weren't called touchdowns, but they should have been. And those are plays that mere mortals don't make, and Rodemaker wouldn't have made it. So you'd have been kicking a field goal, and who knows how that goes. So, yeah, I just think Travis is going to make a few of those special plays a game that Rodemaker's not going to make, and that would account for another probably 7 points.
All right. Yeah, we're starting to get into expansion questions, independent rumors. So that's our red light to wrap things up. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
Not that we don't appreciate everybody in the comments section. We do.
Oh, yeah, we do. Just,
So, especially that kid's little brother.
Yeah, shout out to Mikey and the entire Hunt family. Thanks for listening.
It wasn't the Hunts. It was the Hawks.
The Hawks? Oh, the Hawks. The Hawks. Sorry. Well, Mike, the Hunts is also one.
I know, buddy. I know. I was there with you.
Oh, boy. Shout out to our guys. Shout out to Bakari. He's a subscriber. Shout out to Ray. He, too, is
always.
a subscriber. We appreciate you guys. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to warchant.com. 8 o'clock. I mean, I'm looking at the bracket here. Yeah.
8 o'clock.
Really?
I'm almost positive, man. I could be wrong. Either way, it's right after this, so you put it on ESPN and just wait. But yeah, it's going to be go Noles. We're rooting for Lonnie. We're rooting for Cat. I want to see Edenfield hit one over the scoreboard. And I want to see Mudge and Flaherty stealing bases all over the place. Get you a 5-1 win, put a little pressure on these guys, and go from there.
All right. There's the bracket. I don't know, man. I think it's Eastern time because wasn't the game against Tennessee at 7:00?
I mean, yes, it was
7:30. So 7:30 or no, 8:00. You're right. I'm so sorry. Corey's right. 8 p.m. It's Wednesday today. I'm all over the place. I actually had to work this week, so
I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't question for once whether I was right or not. I'm glad we did it.
He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Game 2 will be at 7:30. Let me get something in there. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe. 5-star rating. Go to warchant.com. Plenty of recruiting over there as well. Deuces, Corey.